Now let's talk about how to QA your creatives. This is a wildly important step, and I'm gonna be honest, a lot of brands and agencies either aren't doing it at all or they're not doing it right. And a big part of the reason of why that is because the creative is passing through the hands of so many teams, right? It's going from the growth team to the creative team to the client, maybe to a brand team or an influencer team or to a founder, and then coming back to the ad account or going back to the video editor. And a lot of times there's just too many cooks in the kitchen, which is why I've found that having a really straightforward QA process often makes this go a lot easier. Because on one hand, yes, you have to look out for the dumb, stupid mistakes like spelling and like making sure you have the right logo and all that menial shit. But you also need to make sure that your creative is actually executing on your strategic vision and that it's actually gonna perform. So here is a simple checklist that I have in Notion that you can use to make sure that your creatives are the best that they can be. And my big suggestion here is you should absolutely tailor this to your own brand or agency and also start adding in do's and don'ts that you get from feedback from the founder or from the brand as you start producing more of these creatives. So if you do a creative and the founder says, oh, I don't ever want to use this type of phrasing, be sure to add that here and keep a running list of things so that you don't have to double back. And I find it's really good that really just every single client has their own QA sheet so that you can maintain those do's and don'ts. So let's go ahead and look at this. Now, the first part of this is going to be for dumb, stupid mistakes. And what I actually suggest is, especially when you have video, when you have audio, listen with the sound on headphones. So that's going to be one, and make sure you don't have any wild sound going on there. And then another thing you want to look at is, are the time lengths correct? Did you really want to do a 15-second video or a 30-second video? And is there any extra weird footage at the end? That's a dumb, stupid mistake I see a lot. Also, make sure that the sizes are correct. And if do you need a 9x16? Do you need a 1x1? And also look at the safe zones and make sure that those are being respected. Now, I actually have a resource for you in the description that's going to help you make sure that you are within the safe zones. That's been a huge unlock for me, and it's something that my teams use regularly so that we can make sure that the font isn't rendering in a weird place when showing up on TikTok, when showing up on Instagram stories. Now, after that, you're going to look at alt text for spelling and grammar errors. I can't tell you how many times I get a piece of creative across my desk and it has a spelling error. So, it's worth saying. Is it the right font? Are the auto captions correct? Did you follow brand guidelines? Is there a CTA? And if not, why not? And then the questions that I like to ask people, kind of put them on the spot. I have them check off. Does this actually look good to you? Really? Do you think the client would be happy with this? Seriously. And another thing that I like to ask is, hey, are you QCing too late, and why? Is this a problem with the growth team? Is it a problem with another team member? Or were you waiting too long for this to be QA? There's a lot of things that are going on here, right? Another thing I also really like to flag is, hey, you're not doing too many variations, are you? Sometimes I'll get creative back from a video editor and I'll see that they've made 12 video variations. They just added in a few for fun, and I'm like, no, I don't want to QA all that. I don't want to go through all that. I really just want to make sure that we're executing on the best creative possible, and each variant is really the strongest creative possible. I don't really care about split testing really meticulously every single minute point. I really just want to make sure that we have the best creatives possible, and therefore we're reducing the number of variants that we have. Now, I also have a performance checklist, which is really zooming in to make sure that we're making creative that converts. So number one, is your hook engaging? Are you doing something interesting with both the imagery and messaging? And we have a few more qualifying questions there that you can go over. So is the text lay legible? Can you reduce the number of words to make it stand out? That's one of the most common things that I have people reduce when I'm looking at creatives is, hey, you're using too many words. Reduce them. This is another one that I often give edits back to video editors is, hey, are there any pauses that you can cut out in the testimonial? Can you jump cut your frame more often? And I'm really looking for a minimum of 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds. I really want that to be engaging. And if it is more of a straight on testimonial, are you zooming in and out to emphasize certain words or certain phrases? That's one way to just instantly make things a little bit more engaging, especially when using UGC. Now, another thing is, does the storyline make sense? I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a piece of creative and it will start off with a hook, it'll start off with a body, and then it just won't really go anywhere, and it'll just show a CTA, and it's, so I really encourage people, hey, is there a clear hook, story, and then CTA storyline that's happening? And if there's not, is there a really good reason for that? Other things I like to call performance boosters are, hey, are there any opportunities for us to highlight one of the 16 human desires, especially in the hook and the messaging, that we can do with the format here? Can we do a split screen? Can we add a before and after? Is there like an us versus them element that we can also add in some social proof? And I know that I've talked a lot about videos. You can also do this for images. So I really like encouraging people to, first look at the asset, also look at the phone and see where your eyes are going first. And ask yourself, is that the intended effect, or do we need to shift something around? Also, is the messaging easy to read? Can we reduce the number of words there? And also, are you using the right visual? And how much does it compete with that messaging? And this is also where I tell people, hey, take a look at your inspiration. How close are you to that? And candidly, do you think yours is better or worse? How do you think that you can actually get closer to it being better or best? Like I said, I have that checklist in the Notion resources for you guys, so you can take a look at that. Feel free to copy it over to your own Notion boards for you guys to use. And I will see you in the next lesson.